Hey, Jantans and Jantanites, Jason Desmond from the Jantan Collective for another edition of What's Up With That, where we question, we learn, and we grow. Of course, remember to subscribe, like, and comment, or click on that little bell thing if you want to get all the latest notifications. We are here to know more, to learn more, and if you have something that you want us to talk about, get in touch because we want to hear from you. Now, he went from singer and actor to meditating in the Egyptian pyramids, and now he's a relationship coach. What's up with that? Well, here to help us get a grip on life and love is a multi-talented Jantan. He's a storyteller, director, actor. He was Augustman's Man of the Year in 2015, and we first saw him way back in Malaysian Idol. We have with us crazy Ash Nair. What's up, Ash?
What's up, dude? How's it going, man?
I've been good. How have you been? I haven't seen you like, how long? Like 10 years or something.
Has it been 10 years?
Because I've been traveling nonstop all over the place, right? So then you've been traveling a lot, man. Jeez. How you been?
I've been good. I've been just doing my own thing for a bit. The last 5 years.
You look great, dude. You're like
thank you.
fit and stuff.
Thank you.
Have you been working out and stuff or what?
I've changed my diet. I'm sort of vegetarian right now.
Vegetarian or vegan?
Vegetarian.
Okay, cool.
I haven't given up eggs yet.
Right. But let's rewind. Go way back to Malaysian Idol. What year was that?
2005.
Damn, you burst onto the scene, into the limelight, and that was... Do you still remember that?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a pivotal sort of moment in my life, because prior to Malaysian Idol, I was just doing a 9-to-5 job. I was in a band and I was sort of playing in indie gigs and stuff, but not at the level of sort of attention that Idol sort of shoots you out there. So sort of and it was my first big TV exposure. So it's hard to not forget the experience. It was quite intense, emotionally, highs and lows. Everybody looking at you. People writing stuff about you in the newspapers. Yeah, it's hard to not forget.
So when you look back at those times, like, positive experience, negative experience, was it?
I mean, I feel like I look at it as definitely a stepping stone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's positive or negative. I feel like there were moments that felt very intense, very confronting emotionally, feeling very exposed, very vulnerable. But there were also moments where I felt very elated, just very grateful for the opportunity, grateful to have, got till be the fourth runner-up. So be in the competition long enough to be able to really, extract as much experience from it. Versus being kicked out in the first week, and then you'd be like, oh wow, that was a great little thing I had. Yeah. But I was long enough in the journey to really get a feel of, do I want to do this? Is this something I enjoy? The experience, when I think about it, like, I really did not know who I was as an artist when I was in the show, because when you're propelled. I'm thinking about, like, what do people want? I'm right. I'm not really. Yeah. I don't really know who I was. Yeah. As an artist, I was still sort of figuring out, like, what would be something interesting. What do you think would be liked? So a lot of my choices were projected based on what other people liked. And then it was only until I left Idols, when I was doing music by myself and I was writing my own music, very, very specifically making that conscious decision that I need to write my own songs, right, that I started to understand what kind of artist I was. And then my singing started to change. My songwriting informed the kind of singing that I enjoyed. Right. So yeah, I noticed how my songwriting changed, my voice started to change, my attitude on stage started to change. It was all post-Idol. It didn't happen during the show. Right. Yeah.
So Idol was great, but I wish I could have done things a bit different.
I mean, I look back and I think about, I could have done this song during this week. I could have done that song. Maybe I should have taken it a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things I realized I didn't do. I did not take the song selection very seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I was just on a trip. I
Yeah.
was just having...
It was a ride, right?
I was just having fun.
Yeah.
And when the week sort of song selection came out, I was like, taking my time to sort of decide what songs I wanted to sing. Versus Daniel, who was my roommate. He was so focused. He was just like always rehearsing, always sort of like finding the songs that he wanted.
Yeah.
The internet wasn't really popular back then. Like, we didn't have phones that was
connected
to the internet.
Yeah.
Like right now, it would have been so different. You just open your iTunes,
Spotify or something, right?
Spotify, and just start researching so much information. But back then, it was just literally just thinking, what song?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think if I look back, I should have taken it a bit more seriously, but it was just a really good trip, a really fun ride. Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was huge, right? I still freaking remember it right now. Happy with that? Not happy with that? Was that where you wanted it to be already at a point?
Yeah, I think that song was. I wrote the song before Idols, or at least I wrote the hook before Idols.
Right.
And then I polished the song after the competition when I was going to the studio with Greg Henderson.
Right.
I'm proud how that song has sort of stood the test of time, because I was just tagged recently, I think a couple of weeks back, Hits FM released this top 57 English songs in Malaysia for Merdeka or something sort of Merdeka thing.
Yeah.
And Crazy was one of the top 57 songs in Malaysia. So I was like, wow, that's actually quite nice.
Yeah. But you were also involved in musicals and acting.
Yeah.
When did that happen? How did that,
that's actually really interesting, because I acted before I sang.
Right.
Back in primary school, like I would always join the class plays, and my group would always win. Like I was doing it for multiple years. I was so I found acting so fun.
Yeah.
And then I was also in a choir that went to the States, and we did a musical. We sort of toured the States when I was 11 years old. Yeah, we did Showboat, this old sort of American musical.
Good God. Okay. Yeah.
Showboat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we toured the States doing this when I was 11. So I've had the acting bug from a very young age, but I never had the chance, or I did not know how to break in. And the back of my mind was thinking, you know what, I'm doing music right now, so let's just focus on music. But then after Idols, what happened was I got a call from Harith Iskandar.
Okay.
And he asked me if I was interested to audition for a musical called Frogway.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds something I would really find fun. So I went for the audition. I met Harith. I met Michael Virupan. He liked me, and he offered me this role. And one of the prerequisites was for me to get along with Vince Chong, because Vince played my. Vince was the lead, and I was his sidekick. So we had to have great chemistry.
Right.
When I met Vince, it was literally like meeting like a brother from another mother.
Oh, right. Okay.
It just felt like macha, hey,
Right.
And we just hit it off so well that I think Harith saw the chemistry, gave me that chance to do that play, and yeah, it was a really fun play. Mel Gibson came and watched it.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So I was actually putting on makeup during the second half with Vince. And then in the reflection, I see Mel Gibson standing in the back, just standing at the doorway. And I'm like,
where is it? Like, what?
It was an instant cafe in Bangsa. So he came down because the person that sponsored the play, Datuk Vinod Shekhar, was friends with Mel Gibson. And he brought him down for some sort of other deal and brought him to watch one of his plays.
Right.
So brought him for Frogway. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, it's Mad Max.
Exactly, right?
So Vince and I were basically fanboying.
Yeah.
Harith was like, hey, Mel. Acted like he's known the guy.
Yeah. Did he?
So that was actually quite, that was fun and very strange, because right after the second act was my big solo song. And I was just like watching Mel at the back, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm singing from Mel Gibson. It was really weird and strange.
And anybody to go, Scotland! Scotland is free! No.
Freedom!
Right? Then it's like, oh God, I gotta get the fuck out of here right now. But I gotta ask you though, do you consider yourself an actor first, then a singer, or the singing thing has gone past already?
It's actually a really interesting and also, you know, yeah, it's
Tough question to answer.
Well, it's tough. I've thought about this quite a bit because I've reinvented myself so many times that it's hard for me to basically say which is which first. I did singing very like sort of professionally for about 8 years, 8 to 10 years, and then within that time frame I was also acting, and then it came to a point I was doing more acting than singing.
Right.
And then I would call myself an actor first, then a singer. But then when I started my production company and I was directing, I would call myself a director first.
Right.
Even though I have not really, we have not made our first feature film yet, but I've been actively directing for the last 10 years.
All right.
So I would actually call myself a director first, then an actor, then a singer.
Right.
And that's just, and that might change depending on the project. Or like a new film comes out, like, oh yeah, I'm an actor first.
Okay.
You know, so I try not to hold on to the branding as, you know, as much. I think a lot of people remember me as a singer.
Yeah.
And so it's like even like I was just hanging out with Fat Fabes the other day, and he was like, yeah, you know, your name in my phone is Ash Singer. So it's, and I think it's because it was probably the biggest local thing I've done.
Yeah.
Was being on being on radio and Malaysian Idol. So yeah, so like in terms of I think singing or music, I think that's probably how most people remember me. And hopefully once our new film comes out end of next year, then people will start changing.
Right.
You know, how they sort of think of me as well.
So at the top, director, actor and singer, somewhere there. Where does relationship coach, where did it even start? How did it get into it? And then you had date night sessions, and when did that start?
Well, I would not call myself a relationship coach per se. So I wasn't going to interrupt you when you gave that intro. But what I've done is I have led men's circles.
All right.
So a men's circle is basically, you know, we'll get a bunch of men basically sitting down and we'll be talking about various topics, from emotions to sex to, you know, all sorts of topics that men might feel a little bit uncomfortable talking to a woman about. We talk about it amongst men.
Right.
And because Hannah, my fiance, is
congratulations on engagement. By the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant.
We didn't really announce it on Facebook or, you know, put that ashes in a whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, I don't know. I don't really get that. But yeah, so we're engaged.
Okay.
Yeah, because she is a relationship coach, so there was a lot of relearning. Like, I was learning a lot through just being around her. She was learning a lot because I was challenging some of the ideas. Right. So we were constantly sort of like challenging each other and rewriting some of the ideas we believed were important in relationships, and how to relate successfully, how to communicate successfully. Because one of the big problems in two people coming together is they don't understand how to relate and how to communicate. So we had to go through like trial by fire in many regards, because she is a very powerful lady. She's, you know, very intelligent. She speaks her mind, and she's not willing to be submissive.
Right.
So I had to meet her where she was at. Constantly had to meet her where she was at. So it was very confronting, but also very healing as well. So because we went through this really powerful transformation as a couple, and we traveled the world, and we did all sorts of crazy things together, that we felt that we could help other couples who were struggling, help other couples that were looking for guidance, in terms of how the tools we use to make it work.
But you guys weren't struggling, right?
I mean, like...
How long are you guys together?
We've been together 5 years.
Right.
Struggle is not the word I would use to describe it, but there were a lot of confrontational points where we were both very stubborn, and we both were not willing to see the other person's perspective. But then we had to expand our language in terms of how we communicate. and as a man, I had to understand how, like, what a woman requires from us in terms of being heard or being seen. And most of the time, what they're actually looking for is just presence. And I had to understand how to hold space and how to not fix their problems,
Yeah, because men are fixers.
Because men are fixers, problem solvers.
Yeah.
So a lot of these sort of little, ways of being were something that I had to adapt myself and get comfortable with, and then in that process, learn and shed layers of ego. And eventually, we've come to a point in our relationship where we're very, very authentic and very honest and very truthful about everything. We don't hide our shames, we don't hide our desires, we're very open and forthright about everything. To the point where it can be very, very uncomfortable for a lot of couples being that open to your partner, but I embrace it right now. Like I find it very healing that I don't have to like block or stuff something down. I just sort of like speak it.
Yeah.
And she is at such a wonderful space energetically that she can receive me where I'm at, and we can both heal from that space.
But how did date night sessions start? There must have been something that was it because Hannah one day she was like, it'd be fun, let's do this, or was there something?
It was exactly that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like why?
She just threw this idea that I think, because she's always coming up with workshops, she's always designing things because that's her job, right?
Yeah.
So one day she wanted to do something that was not just for women. Hers is specifically women-centric workshops.
Right.
So she wanted to do something for couples. And she wanted to do something with me. So she's like, hey, maybe we should do something for couples. So we will brainstorm. So she brought this idea, let's do a date night.
Okay.
So like, what would be in the date night?
Yeah.
So we talked, we learned this thing over here. We learned this thing over there. We can try this thing over here. So we just sat down and we just designed this whole thing. And we tried it for Valentine's the first time, and it was a full house, and I think people really enjoyed it because it was very different, very unusual.
Who participated? Who signed up?
It was all couples.
Right.
We put in social media.
Was it couples in trouble? Was it couples who
No,
were
I think
falling out of
couples-
love?
I think it was a mixture of couples. It was couples who were interested in doing something different for Valentine's, besides the usual flowers and dinner and drinks, and couples who are really interested in doing going deeper in their relationship. And then we had some couples who were more experimental, and they came and they freaked out. They were like, what is going on? What is all these weird things?
Right.
Why am I staring into each other's eyes? But then we learned that there was a lot of good tools that I feel were shared, and the feedback was amazing.
Where'd you get these tools though? I mean, because you learned it from your travels.
From our travels, yeah. We traveled to Thailand, to Koh Phangan, to the States. We learned under so many different teachers, so we just had, every teacher has a different sort of style or different tool.
So what's a typical date night though? I mean, like they come in, they eat and look into each other's eyes and talk.
Well, it's hard. I don't want to give it away.
Oh, right. But ballpark, like kind of. Do they come out of the event refreshed and eager to get it on or something, or what?
Yeah, you basically come in and there's a bit of fear in the beginning because everybody's wondering what's going on, what are we doing, and then we ease them through the process with various exercises. And each exercise has a purpose and a reason why we're doing it. And eventually the exercises become they become more and more intense.
Right.
And by the end of it, there should be an opening. We have designed it in a way where there should be some sort of heart opening experience, or an exchange, or some sort of ritual that would make them feel closer and more bonded, or even understand how to even communicate with each other better.
Right.
So it's not just moving and sort of body work and stuff. There's communication exercises. There's exercises to do with intimacy and touch. There's exercises to do with the senses. There's exercises to do with sound and boundaries. So there's various different things that we do to keep it fun, interesting, and engaging. And but we don't want to give away too much because
Right. When's the next one? Is it like
we do once.
how do you do it in this?
I mean, now it's going to be a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Because of COVID and sort of all that stuff. So we've sort of put this on. We were supposed to do one outstation, but then right before we were about to book the venue and run the promo, COVID happened.
Yeah.
So then we all decided, let's just take a step back and just sort of see where this is going. And then it became worse, and the lockdowns happened. And then, so now we're just sort of like, putting it in a hold for a bit. But we might start again once things...
Does this work on Zoom? Does it work online or somewhere?
We did something on Zoom. We did a singles night on Zoom.
Right.
It's not the same. It was still very fun.
Singles night meaning what? That means people meet each other?
And then they enter
dating.
into breakout rooms. And Hannah and I basically were sort of facilitating these breakout room sessions where men and women were sort of coming in, and then we'll ask all these questions, play all these games. And then we'll break them onto these rooms, and then they'll just get to meet each other and ask certain questions. And the end, if whoever's interested, can exchange numbers. So we were just doing it for fun, and also just to sort of do something creative during COVID. How do we sort of relate and sort of connect? Because we were so disconnected and so isolated.
Yeah.
So we were trying to do something that was
Get
different.
people together somehow.
Get people together, somehow.
Technology.
Yeah.
Actually, how were those travels? I mean, like you went everywhere. Where did you, you spent time with an Amazon tribe, and you went to the Egyptian pyramids.
Yeah,
how'd you pick and choose where you wanted to go?
I didn't really even pick and choose it. It just really, it felt like it was guided somehow. Like the universe just presented these opportunities in front of me when the time was right. And I think it happens whenever you answer a call. Like when you see a film, right? There's something called the hero's journey in the film.
Yeah.
And there's always a moment where the hero is invited to step out of the world he knows.
Okay.
But the hero always rejects it because he wants to stay in the comfort zone, in the world that he knows.
Right.
But the moment the hero answers the call and steps out into the threshold, into the next world, these opportunities basically somehow or rather in a some strange synchronicity always gets presented to you.
Right.
So I felt the last, since 2010, for 7-8 years, it was been this crazy journey of things just happening and me just saying, yes, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So one of the things was I went to Mind Valley and I was having a chat with Vishen.
Yeah.
We were talking about something, and then he told us about this journey he took to the Amazon, and we felt inspired that we wanted to do the same journey. And he made a call then with the person that was organizing it, and I got to sort of speak to this person. And the next journey was in 2 weeks.
Right.
So we just said yes.
When you said we, that means you and Hannah? Or
No, I went with another lady,
Right.
Virginia Kennedy.
Right.
So the two of us went on this journey, and so we flew to Ecuador, and we took a little biplane.
Okay.
1 hour into the Amazon, where there was a clearing, and then there were these people living there, and the plane landed, and they brought us to on a boat down the river in the Amazon into where they lived. And it was isolated. It was just really in the middle of nowhere.
So it's like a tribe.
It's a tribe. It's a tribe that lives in the jungle. And we stayed with them for a bit. And
what's a bit, like a few weeks? Or?
Yeah, the whole journey was 2 weeks.
Right.
But being with the tribe was about a week.
Right.
And then we went and did all sorts of crazy, shamanic experiences. We did ayahuasca.
Right.
Have you heard of ayahuasca?
I've watched some documentaries, but I don't really know what it is.
Yeah. So we tried that. That was in the middle of the Amazon with a 95-year-old half-blind shaman.
Right.
Under the stars. It was really profound experience. Very, very powerful. Very transformative.
Do you have to smoke some stuff?
No, you drink it. It's
okay.
It's actually a drink.
Right.
Very vile. One of the worst tasting drinks.
And then what happens?
Yeah, you sort of after you drink it,
The dream state.
about 20-30 minutes after you drink it, you start getting visions, and you start seeing things. And for some people, you start purging. So a lot of people were basically purging and screaming and vomiting, and from both sides, up and down.
Right.
And
Fun.
Yeah, it's quite intense. It's quite intense. But but because of my meditation sort of background, I didn't.
Also, this was after you went to India and whatnot.
Yeah, it was sort of after I started already,
Right.
becoming,
Exploring.
sort of exploring. This is in 2012.
Okay.
And I was just in a meditative sort of space, and I allowed whatever it is to happen, and I saw some really crazy things. I saw I saw myself being
Crazy meaning like dream, like nightmarish, like what?
it wasn't nightmaric. It was very profound images. Like I understood what it means to feel mother's love, because I saw myself being birthed by my mom.
What?
And I saw my mom holding me in her arms, but looking at me through her eyes. But and for men, we don't understand mother's love the way a mom will understand it.
Correct.
Because we didn't have to go through the whole process.
Yeah. Unconditional love.
Absolutely, yeah. So, but at that point, during the experience, I felt that unconditional love of how a mother would feel with her child. And I managed to feel that transmission. And it was so beautiful and so profound that I would never have thought about it without the experience. I would not have even felt it without that experience.
Because sometimes when we wake up from a dream, it was great, but you don't remember the details. Do you remembered everything though?
You don't remember everything, but there were sort of like bits and pieces that were very important that I will always remember for the rest of my life. But most of it is just like a daze, and it sort of goes away.
Right.
But yeah, it was a beautiful, powerful experience. So that was the Amazon. We did that for a bit, and then
We went to the Egyptian pyramids.
Yes.
When was that?
Yeah, so that was in 2011.
I've always wanted to go to Egypt. How? Why?
I joined a group. I joined a spiritual group that had this really powerful journey down the Nile, and we were living on a boat.
Wow.
And we would go down the Nile, and we will take pit stops and go into specific temples down the Nile. So we'll just we'll enter this temple of Abydos, this temple of Abu Simbel, all these various temples that were all connected down the Nile, and we finally ended the journey inside the Great Pyramid.
Inside?
Yeah, so we entered the Great Pyramid. It was just us, just our group. And it was complete darkness. We meditated, we sang, we basically...
Because usually no one's allowed to go in.
Yeah, but this lady had some access.
That's brilliant.
The teacher had access.
Nice.
And it was a really powerful sort of initiation. So I would be doing all those things, all these crazy things. And that's probably why I wrote a song called Crazy.
Yeah.
Because I was...
But it's not crazy to you.
It wasn't crazy to me. Like
It
to
just
other
made
people,
sense. Yeah.
like Ash has gone a bit crazy. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's sort of like he's doing all these crazy things. I was like, yeah.
Did you learn different things at the Egyptian thing than the...
Yeah, every experience, every retreat is always different. Like because the system is different, the teachings are different.
Right.
Like one is more like the Amazon was more shamanistic.
Yep.
It was more about going back to nature. It was more about understanding how the tribes think and how they exist. Like this particular tribe that we lived with, called the Achwar. The Achwar believe that the world we're living in right now is the dream,
Right.
and the dream world is the real world.
Yeah.
Because it's more of it. It's more abstract. It's more expansive, and this is limited. The world we're in is much more limited.
Right.
So, being part of that experience, gave me an insight into how the mind of that particular tribe and how they related with reality. And then the Egyptian systems were different. They were more spiritual. They were more about dissolving the ego. But it was also very esoteric and a lot of mythology and if you're into those things, it's interesting.
Yeah.
If you're not, then it's like this is really weird.
Hocus pocus kind of stuff.
Hocus pocus kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I find all these things very fascinating, very interesting.
Because I like stuff like this.
You like this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
You should totally try it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should totally do it.
When's your next trip? Where are you going?
I know some people who are actually organizing. There's actually a very good teacher here in Malaysia, Sherwin Ng. He organizes yearly trips to Egypt, and he does something similar as well. You can actually go with him.
Damn.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. So
That's interesting. Because it's funny that you mentioned that in a dream world, they believe that that's the real world, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, this can't be all there is, man. This world sucks.
If you think about it, right? Like if you zoom into an atom and just keep on going,
Yeah.
everything is basically empty space.
Yeah.
We're mostly empty space.
Yeah.
But the material world is so limited, so like a fraction of a percentage of what we're actually perceiving.
Yeah.
Like the human eye, we can only perceive the 7 colors.
Yeah.
Visible light.
Yeah.
But we can't perceive X-ray, we can't perceive ultraviolet. There's so much of the bandwidth of light that we are not even seeing. We can't perceive. We don't even know what exists in those other sort of levels of reality or levels of light.
Yeah.
So it's only our arrogance that would say that this is it.
Yeah.
That this material world is everything.
Yeah.
It's only human arrogance.
Yeah.
But if we are open to say, like, you know what, I don't know what else is out there, but I'm open to exploring it, then the mysteries of these other realities begin to be open to you. I feel like there's the skeptic will always say seeing is believing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I actually believe believing is seeing.
Right.
Because if you start to believe in something, I feel you will start to see miracles right in front of you. And I've seen this throughout my life. The moment I started to believe in a higher power or higher source, miracles were happening all the time. And you cannot explain it, and nobody else will actually believe you until they have the experience themselves.
Right.
And this is something that I think Christopher Nolan was trying to explain in Tenet.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like
yeah.
he was trying to he reversed the film, right? The whole film was backwards.
Yeah.
And one of the key takeaways was don't think, feel it, right? So if you feel something before you think it, that also means if you can believe in something before you see it, things begin to sort of change for you. So yeah, if people can try believing before they're seeing, you might even like experience divinity. You might actually experience God.
Wow.
Or whatever it is, whoever it is you relate to.
Enlightenment.
Some sort of expansion.
Yeah.
You would definitely not be the same person. Put it that way. So you've literally nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose. It's just a choice. It's just a switch on or off. It's just a choice.
Right.
I'm choosing to look at it differently. That's all it is.
Now that you've been awakened, you've gone to the Amazon, you've gone to Egypt, you've seen so much. And then now you're into helping couples evolve as well. And then helping men be better versions of themselves, which is exactly what we're doing. How do we be better Jantans? What do we get wrong in relationships? Sometimes even before we get into a relationship, we're looking for a relationship. And then are we looking for the wrong things? What is it that we get wrong?
I think one of the big things is when we're in a relationship is to not always be the fixer and the problem solver. When we are relating with women, sometimes all they want is it's just our presence. It's just to be seen, just to be heard, not to give them what the solution is. And but for a lot of men, we find it very challenging to hold space, to just be present while a woman is in her emotions, like
Okay.
crying or in a pain. Just be present without trying to give you what the solution is.
Okay.
You know, like usually when we see a woman crying, the immediate thing is like, why are you crying?
Yeah.
Oh, because of this and this. Like, oh, you should do this. This is
Yeah.
the reason. You should be doing this. Then your problems will go away.
Yeah.
And they don't want to hear that. They just want you to, in a way, hold space for
Be
them.
there?
Just be there and just be present with them.
Lovey's like, yeah, that's true.
And sometimes it's so hard for men to do that because it requires us to be able to deal with uncomfortable emotions.
Is that a systemic thing? Can we change? Is it?
You can change it if it's a choice.
Yeah.
You can absolutely change it.
But isn't it inbuilt in us to be that way in many ways? Because
It might have been conditioned.
right.
Because our parents didn't know better. But we are the generation where we are rewriting the rules for ourselves right now. So literally the choice is in your hands. That you can, go down, like find a path that you are comfortable in, find a teacher that you resonate with, or read books that from great authors out there who who teach various techniques, go do a workshop, do something that might not be cool, because some of these more spiritual workshops or these more introspective sort of retreats that require self-reflection, require tapping into emotions, might not seem cool to men.
Yeah.
Be like, why am I spending my time doing this kind of shit?
And they always throw stuff like, that's a cult.
Oh, that's a cult, or that's too feminine, or that's too weird for me. You know,
Yeah.
I want to go watch football with the boys.
Yeah, they always say, what, if I do this, is my testosterone level going to drop or something?
Yeah, so there's so those ideas, or the stigma itself is the self-sabotage.
Right.
You shoot yourself in the foot because you're not willing to change. So then you expect everybody else to change for you, but then right now, women are getting so empowered.
Yeah.
They want a different kind of man. They want different things for themselves. So I feel like, you know, we have the opportunity, we have the choice. It's really in our hands, but you have to want to do it. You have to want the change. If you don't want the change, nobody should force anybody. Everybody's on their own path. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody moves at their own speed. It's not a race. There's no finish line. It's really whether or not you want to do it. And for me, I was very passionate about it. I was very interested in evolving. I was very interested in changing. And that's why I chose the path and do all these crazy things, because I had the passion for it. But it's not everybody's passion.
Yeah. So the step one is you must want.
You must want
to,
yeah. You must
not necessarily change, but evolve.
You must see evolution as something beneficial, something that will help you in the long run. Like if you're interested in evolution, if you're interested in self-reflection, then it's already a very good place to be.
So how do we do this? How do we get to where you are? Because you're awakened. But not everybody, not every guy can go to the Amazon and go and meditate in the pyramids and go to India and whatnot. How do we kind of fit all of that into whatever we're still doing and be better versions of ourselves as men? Like, can we do it at home?
Well, before I start, I just want to put it out there that I'm not special. I'm no different than anybody else. And I've only decided to choose a path that was very introspective. And it led me on this journey. And it's challenging when you have a 9-to-5, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It means that you just need to find space in your year, in your calendar, to go and do these things. Because there was a point where I was doing it while I had a job. I was lucky that the money I made in doing my music and some investments, I could use it I spent it on experiences instead of hoarding, material things.
Right.
I spent it a lot on travel and experiences. But I think where it starts, like how we can start immediately, the first thing I think would be to start a meditation practice. Because essentially what I'm interested in doing, or what I've been doing, is how do you create space within yourself? That's all it is. All you're doing is you're just creating more space within yourself, that your patterns and your ego and whatever it is, your shadow side, doesn't have power over you. Versus you don't have that space, and then you're constantly reacting to the world, and you think you're a victim. Oh, I'm a victim because of my circumstance, I'm a victim because of this. But the moment you start building space in your body, you become a lot more masterful over your internal world. So first thing is, start meditation practice every day, about 20 to 30 minutes. If you can, and I mean, people watch more TV than, so there's literally no excuse.
When you say start a meditation practice, do we go on YouTube to find some, like what?
Yeah.
Just sit in a quiet spot and just...
Pretty much. You just find one spot that you like in your house, and if you can make the spot feel more sacred, by lighting a candle or incense or putting some pictures of people or deities or whatever it is. Like you are just making, with your intention, making that particular corner more sacred. And if you meditate in that spot every day, half an hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, all you're doing is you're focusing on your breath. That's all you do. You just focus on the inhalation and the exhalation of your breath. You feel the sensation of hot air basically escaping you and cold air coming in. And that's all you're doing. So whenever you meditate, what happens is, if anybody tries, I will guarantee you your thoughts will come in and will disturb you.
Right.
Just understand that that's completely fine.
Okay.
Completely fine and completely normal. Your thoughts will even say, I'm wasting my time, this is not working, this is bullshit.
All right, yeah, I've done, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's completely normal as well. When you meditate, what's actually happening is you are building space between each thought. So at the beginning, it'll just be thoughts coming in, thoughts coming in. There's no space. Okay? Then you are slowly, if you keep doing it after a couple of weeks, you start noticing, wait a second, the emptiness between the thoughts is now a little bit more space. And then it begins to expand even more and more and more. Over like months, you start realizing there's very little thoughts between the space.
Right.
It's just, a lot of it is just empty space, maybe like 15 seconds, and then one random thought coming in, and it goes away really fast. So the trick is to not follow the thought. When a thought comes in, I'm thinking about food. What food to eat? Where to eat? Maybe I should have yesterday's sort of leftovers. Leftovers are bad lah. You just follow this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So the moment you are aware, oh wait a second, I'm thinking, go back to the breath.
Okay.
You just keep doing that. It's almost like a muscle. You just need to exercise it. And the more you keep doing it, you follow the thoughts, break out of it, come back to the breath, the more space begins to grow between each thought. And eventually, you build a lot of space. And some people say that they can have very strange, mystical experiences during meditation. Lots of stuff can happen during meditation.
Have you had it?
Many.
Okay.
And it's not isolated to me. I'm not special or anything. Anybody can have these experiences. It's not the goal for meditation. It should never be the goal. It's more of a happening. You can suddenly see images. You can suddenly see a face. You can suddenly see a location, like some sort of field. And you're like, why am I seeing this? It's all black. Why is it suddenly appearing?
Yeah.
Like, am I hallucinating? So your mind will play tricks on you. But just go with it. It doesn't matter. So meditation begins to create a lot of inner peace and a sense of being. And you would actually notice that a lot of truth, a lot of issues that things that you're blocked, a choice that you are sort of conflicted with. Do I go left or right? What's the choice, the right choice? The answers come when you're in that zero point, in that stillness. Because in that stillness, that's when, this is what I believe, I'm not saying people have to believe this, I believe that divinity communicates with you.
Right.
In the space of meditation. Like prayer is when you reach out to connect with something higher.
Right.
But meditation is when that higher sort of aspect of yourself communicates with you. That communion happens during meditation. So it's a very powerful practice. And I would say that's the first entry point. And then the next is being willing to step out of the world you know.
Right.
Try different things. Go and seek. Go and experiment. Go and do things that you would never have thought before. Go out of your comfort zone. If you are not willing to go out of your comfort zone, you are just like stuck water.
Okay.
You just stagnate. So once you started a meditation practice, explore. Try different things. Be willing to look stupid. Be willing to be called stupid.
Yeah.
Or crazy. Like be brave. Like it doesn't matter. Like you might have to even lose some friends.
Okay.
This is also one thing. When I started becoming spiritual or started going on a path, I cut out a lot of friends in my life.
Because you're toxic?
Friends that are toxic, friends that were feeding off your, like, they wanted you to sort of not move beyond, because it mean that they were comfortable where they were at.
Right.
So if you move too far ahead, that means that they can't follow. So they will try and bring you down. So you would actually even find a lot of his answers in meditation. Like, the kind of people, like, who are the kind of people do I want to surround myself with?
Right.
Do I want to surround myself with people who are willing to, who are here to lift me up, who are positive and are here really about their own evolution? Or do I want to surround myself with people who are, all about gossiping and about, being too bro-ish and all about, bringing people down?
Yeah.
Like, so who you surround yourself with is another big aspect to this, like curating your breathing space. Who do I want to spend my breathing space around?
Yeah.
So it's making really tough choices, because some people will be very upset with that. They'll call you, oh, you're an asshole, you're arrogant, or whatever it is. But you have to really stick with your guns. Like, what are you willing to what are you not willing to allow?
Yeah.
What kind of behavior are you not willing to allow in your space? If a certain person is very abusive, energy vampires, I'm not willing to, share my energy with you. I'll come and maybe say hi to you, but that's about it,
Yeah. Actually, on that,
Yeah.
let's say you have all these amazing experiences and you're trying new things on a weekend, whatever it is, and I'm like, wow, I feel great. I feel like I'm changing, I'm evolving. Monday, go out to work, and then you're in this organization where everybody's super toxic, and it might be a very sexist organization because it's been that way forever, and you're trying to be a better version of yourself. You want to be a better Jantan, be watching this show, I need to be better and stuff like this, but everybody's just encouraging toxicity. But through meditation, just by thinking more consciously about things, should you leave that place if it's way too toxic for you?
That can be a choice. So
it's like friends as well, right?
yeah,
you were saying
you can choose to, like, we should never fear change. And if it means leaving a job that you're very secure in, be willing to break it all apart. Because I honestly believe that we're always looked after. If we are following our heart, as long as we're following our heart at every step of the way, and this is from my experience, I've always been looked after. Even though, like, I had to, like, leave something that was like a 9 to 5 and start going freelance. Like, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was very terrifying. But then the moment I just said, yes, I'm going to do this, just things started to happen, and I truly believe that we don't understand reality in completely. We have an idea of how things are. We are conditioned to believe that be secure, do 9 to 5, be a good citizen by contributing, tax and all that stuff. But I feel like we're not there yet.
Yeah.
I feel that there's so much about life and so much about reality that we have very little understanding on. We have barely even, like, explored our solar system.
Yeah.
We are still, a type 1 civilization. We haven't really gone out. So we don't know what's out there. We don't know how other planets exist, how different modes of communication exist.
Or life.
Yeah. So try new things. Let go of things that don't feel is an expression of who you are. Let go of jobs that you don't feel are expressions of who you are. Friendships, bosses. Be willing to, make a very hard draw, like a line in the sand. Like, I am not willing. I will not tolerate this kind of behavior.
Yeah.
And if you are in a situation where you still, you feel afraid or you can't speak out so much, all you can do is don't participate. People can talk and say what they want to say, but you don't have to participate and add energy to it. You can just exist and in the noise, and just allow it just to be noise, and you're just in your center. And you'd be surprised if somebody who is willing to do just that and maintain that integrity inside themselves, that has a way of basically even influencing the people around you. It's either people around you leave because they can't be in that very pure sort of frequency, or you leave.
Right.
Something will happen, So it really is a choice. Yeah.
Great. I love how you said we don't even know how we've been living is the right way to live. Because I think it was Steve Jobs who said, like, when he was already almost at the end, he said, I think I lived my life all wrongly. I should have done everything different. Like, we're like, oh my God, but iPhone and stuff like this is great. But then he was like, no, I think I lived my life very differently, very wrongly. Yeah. So that's great. Be courageous, want to change, meditate, focus on yourself, and be willing to change.
Be willing to break things apart. Right. You know, letting go, constantly shedding your identity. The things that you believe to be true 10 years ago might be something else now.
Okay.
Always be willing to shed.
I like that.
Yeah. Cool.
So what's next for you, man? What's the next big project?
The next thing is, so we've been working on a feature film, a science fiction feature film. And
hold on, back it up. Like what? Really? So like what are we talking about? Like Star Wars, or are we thinking more Matrix, or are we thinking more?
Yeah, it's a little bit more grounded than Star Wars. It's not so out there, but it's a remake of an all American 80s film. I don't want to say too much because I wanted to.
Oh my God!
Talk about it a little bit more.
That's the best tease ever. Like yes, okay.
It's a very loose remake of an all-American 80s film, but it's got a Malaysian spin, and we actually got the financing right before COVID lockdown.
Okay.
So, and it was like a very decent budget.
Wow.
You know, it was like in the range of Pascal.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Corona happened, and then the investors basically backed out.
Shit.
So we were back to square one. So we were like, oh my God, how do we do this? You know, like because we spent a year on the script. We were starting to do development. There was some pre-production was already done.
Casting?
Light casting was already done. We casted a few of the actors. We already met them. So when this happened, it was like a big sort of like spanner.
Like, fuck.
You're like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
So then, right now, because of COVID and I got it. I sort of pivoted my business, started doing other things. And we might be able to finance it ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. If some of these projects basically happen, I probably will be my own executive producer of my own film.
Nice.
So fingers crossed. We'll see. It's looking good.
80s science fiction film.
80s science fiction film.
I'm going to be scouring the web to find
I will
exactly.
show you the poster right after this.
Okay.
Just so privately, I'll show you.
All right.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Quick one before you go.
Yep.
How old are you now?
I just turned 40.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good age to be at, right?
I think so, yeah.
40 is fun. I like 40.
Yeah, I think so. It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good, yeah.
Go back in time. Think about your most rebellious time when you thought you knew it all. And what would 40-year-old Ash say to that very rebellious Ash who thought he knew it all? What would you say to your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, make sure you buy Bitcoin. Lots of it.
Yeah.
But I would also say, follow your heart. You know, because it doesn't matter whether if you follow your heart and you make choices where you don't make money, you don't appear to be successful in the conventional way. As long as you follow your heart, you eventually get where you need to go. And it is a much more scenic route versus you chase money, you chase ambition, and it might be a shortcut towards, success, but it's not an interesting journey. So I will always say, and that's something that I've managed to do that, like since, I started getting into the arts. Just keep doing that. Like, don't ever stop following your heart.
So basically, you wouldn't change anything because everything that's happened shaped who you are right now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now
except for Bitcoin, just go buy more Bitcoin.
So you did get into it, or you didn't? Or
I did.
Oh, nice. So
I got into Bitcoin.
You got into the investment bit already, right? What advice would you give to Jantans to be better versions of themselves? If you could break it down to one sentence, I suppose.
Don't try and always fix the problems. Try to be more present with your emotions. And the more present you are with your emotions, the more present you are going to be with your partner's emotions. So so be more present, and don't always try and fix and be a problem solver. The problems can actually solve itself naturally. It's just happening. An idea will come in the girl's mind or in the guy's mind. It can just happen or dissolve naturally. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Ash, Nair, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, JD.
This was great. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man.
And thank you for watching. As usual, don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, click on that little bell for all the notifications that we might send your way. And please do get in touch with us in the comment section. We want to hear from you. Maybe there was something that we said here that just got your emotions going and you're like, I don't agree to that. Or maybe you do. We want to hear from you. If there's something that you want us to talk about, also do get in touch. This has been great. Thank you for watching. This is What's Up With That. My name is JD. And as usual, don't forget, don't be a dick.